objects and are imperceptible by any means of acquiring knowledge. Thus, the Lord is not glorified by manufactured names, or in other words, by names that are product of conceptualization. So we had discussed earlier Srimad Bhagavatam 10.37.23 regarding this, and Vishnu Puran 5.18.54. The verb idyase can also mean Lord manifests his glory through names. It should be understood that only those names that are celebrated in scriptures that invokes instant remembrance of the Lord and that manifest their potency, even if chanted incidentally, are to be considered self-existent. All other names are the product of thought construction. So when Vishnu Puran says that conceptualization of names, form, jati, class, etc., they do not exist in the Lord, at the same time it is said that Bhagwan is worshipped by the names such as Achyuta, Krishna, Ananta. How do we reconcile this? The answer is the names are eternal and they existed even before the conceptualization. Similarly, the Leela of Bhagwan, they are eternal, existed even before conceptualization. These Leelas, named Gunas of Bhagwan, they are all manifestation of their eternal Chit Shakti, his internal potency. Sri Krishna is known as Vedantakrit, 15.15, and he spoke the Vedas to Sri Brahma, Srimad Bhagavatam 11.14.3. The names and the classes assigned to the people are not part of their essential nature. They can be modified or replaced by new names without causing any change of the essence. They serve only to assist in empirical dealings. Example, a fool can be named Panditas Shiromani, a blind man, Padmalochan, but this all will not have bearing on their nature. There is no factual relation between the person's name and his attributes. Such is not the case with Lord's name, as Krishna is non-different from his names and his complete potency also exists in his names. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirmed this in Shishtastakam prayers. Sri Krishna's names convey an attribute he possesses, such as Ghanashyam or Giridhari, because he is inherently self-endowed with trans-conventional qualities and eternally manifests trans-egoic play, that is Leela. There is no need for him to be assigned merely a conceptualized name that are incapable of reflecting his true nature. According to the Vedic authority, even letters have transcendental potency. Words are certainly eternal and the pronunciation conveys meaning to others. Sage Upavarsha says every letter is a word and these letters are eternal. So if the words are eternal, their constituent parts must also be eternal. So again, logic dictates that it is not possible to have an eternal object with temporal components because what is not the cause cannot be the effect. So Krishna manifests in the gross form on the tongue, consisting of vowel, accent, and consonants. The holy name of the Lord is certainly eternal, being non-different from him, self-existent and conscious in nature. Srila Jiva Goswami establishes the conscious nature of the name. Shabda is the only pramana, valid means of knowledge, adequate to a certain knowledge of the reality that underlines and transcends material nature. Sri Shukadev Goswami explained the glories of holy name in Srimad Bhagavatam, especially in the account of Ajamil. So, fire will burn whether one touches it knowingly or by accident. Similarly, the name of the Lord burns the sin to ashes, whether chanted knowingly or unknowingly, with faith or without faith. As fire burns dry grass to ashes, so the holy name of the Lord, when chanted knowingly and unknowingly, unfailingly burns all the reaction of one's sinful acts to ashes, just as the medicine of the highest curative potency will surely act, even when the person is ignorant of its efficacy, even if taken by chance. So, too, the name of the Lord will act, even if uttered as a matter of coincidence. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.2.18 to 19. Yeah. Okay, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Already 8:15.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So we'll continue. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. No problem. If you have to go, you can take leave. No problem. That time I will end the class. ओमज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So we'll continue to discuss the 47th Anucheda. In this part of the Anucheda which we are discussing, that Jiva Goswami says that even the holy names of the Krishna are also completely spiritual. That is the theme of this Anucheda. Going ahead, I'll read you can see the Sanskrit text. Nacha asya arthavadatvam chintyam. So, nacha asya arthavadatvam, one should not think the glories of the holy name to be an arthavada. Tata arthavado harinamni kalpanam iti Padma Purana anusarena aparada apatat. According to Padma Purana, considering the statements about the glories of the holy name to be arthavada, it is considered to be an offense. So I'll just briefly discuss what is arthavada. You see that according to the Purva Mimamsa, there are 5 types of statements in the Vedas. Vidhi Vakya, Mantra, Namadeya, Nisheda and Arthavada. These are the 5 types of statements. Vidhi is a particular rule. Mantra is a particular mantra. Namadeya is giving particular names actually. Nisheda is prohibition. And Arthavada statement is some kind of a statement which is spoken to encourage a person to do a particular activity. The purpose of Arthavada is to encourage people to perform certain religious acts and also to discourage the opposite in religious activities. So, Arthavada statements are eulogistic in nature or critical in nature. For example, the Taittiriya Samhita, there is a statement that one desirous of wealth should sacrifice a horse to the wind god. So, or another part of the Samhita, it is said that Vayu is indeed the swiftest of the gods. So this glorification of the wind god implies that Vayu will quickly reward the worshippers. And this will in turn incite the people to perform sacrifice for him. So because it has such a motive, this statement of glorification of Vayu is included in the category of the Arthavad. So but the scriptural statements glorifying the holy name, they are not in the category of the Arthavada. They should not be considered as an exaggeration. Tata Arthavado Harinamni Kalpanam. Yasya tu Grihita Namnopi Puna Samsarastasya. Sometimes a person has accepted the holy name, but Punaha Samsarastasya. But still such a person is stuck in the samsara. What is the reason for that? The reason is basically the offense actually. Nanu vrajati yo mohat vrajantam parameshwaram jnanagni dagdha karmapi sabhaved brahma rakshasaha. So jnanagni dagdha karmapi. A person's all the karmas have been burnt by the practicing the jnana marga. But still, na anuvrajati. Yeah, the Ratha of the Supreme Lord is going. Suppose the Ratha Yatra is moving. When the Ratha Yatra of the Lord is moving, one has to go behind the Lord in the procession. But na anuvrajati. That person who does not follow behind the Ratha Yatra procession because of moha, because of an offensive attitude. Such a person, even though his karmas have been destroyed by the jnana, sa bhavet brahma rakshasa, he will become a brahma rakshasa. So why this verse is quoted? This verse is quoted to show that because the person is having an offensive attitude towards the Lord, although his karmas have been destroyed, but because of his offense towards the disrespect towards the Lord who is going on the Ratha Yatra, he becomes a brahma rakshasa. So similarly, sometimes a person may yasyatu grihita namnopi punas samsarastasya. A person may have accepted the holy name, but still he takes to samsara again. The reason is that offense to the holy name. Iti. So I'll also discuss something about the Arthavada from the purport. So if the statements eulogizing the chanting of the holy names, if they are considered Arthavada, then a question arises. Suppose if they are Arthavada, any Arthavada statement is for a particular Vidhi statement. When suppose in the Karma Kanda, a particular, the Vayudev is quoted, Vayudev is say glorified, then it is for a particular Vidhi statement, a yajna towards the Vayudev. Similarly, suppose if the statement eulogizing the holy name, if they are considered Arthavada, then for which Vidhi injunction is that Arthavada put forth? Because Arthavada is always subordinate and supplementary to a particular Vidhi Vakya. So this Vidhi Vakya could be for chanting itself or for some other imperative statement, some other Vidhi Vakya. So then he says that there are actually no statements regarding the holy name that its chanting forms a part of a separate Vidhi. There are no statements regarding the holy name that its chanting forms part of some separate Vidhi. But if on the other hand, the Vidhi Vakya is chanting itself, then there is no difference between the Vidhi Vakya to chant and the eulogy of chanting, because both are direct statements recommending a person to chant. And moreover, any injunction that recommends the performance of an activity and directly states its benefits, it cannot be considered as arthavada. So suppose if the statement which glorifies the chanting, if it is considered arthavada, then the question is that to which particular vidivakya? If the vidivakya is some other statement, some other thing, the vidivakya could be some other statement, or it could be the vidivakya could be chanting. But in the case of the eulogy of chanting, we don't find some other imperative statement. There are no statements regarding the holy name that its chanting forms a part of a separate vidhi. So therefore, the vidivakya has to be chanting itself. But if vidivakya is also chanting, if the eulogy statement is also about chanting, then that statement which talks about the eulogy of chanting, it cannot be considered as arthavada. It is same as vidivakya only. So when the direct or the primary meaning is applicable, one should not search out a secondary meaning. Therefore, it should be considered that the names of the Lord are transcendental and non-different from him, as confirmed in the Padma Puran verse cited in this anuccheda.
So,
Further,
Prabhuji, what is the Sanskrit name for that primary and secondary?
Mukhya and Gauna.
Okay, thank you so much. It was about, yeah, you told us about some tree near Ganges or something. Villages near Ganges.
That is, say, Mukhya Vritti, Lakshana Vritti, and Vyanjana Vritti. Mukhya Vritti is the literal primary meaning of a statement. Lakshana Vritti, when you say there is a village on the Ganges, the Mukhya Vritti does not make sense because there cannot be village on the Ganges. Therefore, we have to resort to the Lakshana Vritti. We have to say that there is a village on the banks of the Ganges. Village on the Ganges means village on the banks of the Ganges. So interpreting like that is called as a Lakshana Vritti. And then there is a Mukhya Vritti, Lakshana Vritti, and Gauna Vritti. Yeah, Gauna Vritti example, I'll check it and tell you. Gauna Vritti is little more actually. Gauna Vritti or Vyangya Vritti also it is called. I'll check it and tell. So then, iti Sri Vishnu Bhakti Chandrodayadi Pramanita Purana Vachanavat Mahad Aparada Tad Artavada Kalpanadikam Pratibandakam Yeyam. So this statement, Nanu Vajati Yo Mahat, this is a statement from Vishnu Bhakti Chandrodaya, from a scripture called as Vishnu Bhakti Chandrodaya. So from this statement, we can see that because of committing an offense, Mahad Aparada, because a person considers the glories of bhakti to be exaggeration, one does not take it seriously. Oh, why should I go behind the Lord in the Ratha Yatra? One does not take it, because one takes it to be exaggeration or imaginary, one does not take it seriously. So therefore, because of this offense, Kalpanadikam Pratibandakam. Pratibandakam means what? Pratibandaka means obstacle. These offenses create an obstacle for a person. So therefore, even though his karmas have been burnt by jnana, he takes birth as a Brahma Rakshasa. Atayeva Ananda Rupatvamasya Mahat Hridaya Sakshikam Yata Shri Vigrahasya. So what he is saying is that just like the form of the Lord is composed of bliss, similarly, the holy name of the Lord is also similarly composed of the bliss. The name of the Lord is of the nature of the bliss, just like his form. And for that, he quotes a verse from the second canto of the Bhagavatam. Tadashmasaram Hridayam Batedam yadgruhyamaanairharinamadeyaih na vikriyetat yada vikaro netre jalam gatra ruheshu harshah. So that person, the heart that does not melt while reciting the holy names of Hari is surely made of a stone. When the heart does melt, tears flow from the eyes and the hairs of the body stand on end in ecstasy. So when a person chants the holy name, if the heart does not melt, melting of the heart results in flowing of the tears. If it does not happen, that means a person is committing offenses. Therefore, his heart is to be like a steel framed. Atayeva Prabhasa Purane Kantoktya Katitair Hetubihi Sakala Veda Palatvena Cha Bhagavat Swarupatvameva Pratipaditam. So Prabhasa Purane, yes, I think the Padma Purana, Prabhasa Kanda is quoting a statement. Sakala Veda Palatvena, the fruit of the creeper of the Vedas. The fruit of the creeper of the Vedas is nothing but the holy names of the Lord. The Lord's name in the Skanda Puran Prabhasa Kanda, the above reasons are used to establish explicitly that the Lord's name is identical to his form, Swarupatvena. And the Lord's name is the Sakala Veda Palatvena, is the fruit of all the Vedas. Then he quotes a shloka. Maduram Maduram Etan Mangalam Mangalanam Sakala Nigama Valli Satpalam Chit Swarupam Sakradapi Parigitam Shraddaya Helayava Bhruguvaranara Matram Tarayet Krishna Nama. Maduram Maduram. The holy name of the Lord is the sweetest of the sweet thing. Yetan Mangalam Mangalanam. It is among all the auspicious things, it is the most auspicious thing. Sakala Nigama Valli Satpalam. It is the fruit of the creeper of the Vedas. Chit Swarupam. The holy name is conscious. It is conscious. It is not some dull achetana vastu. Sakridapi Parigitam. Shraddaya Helayava. If a person chants the holy name even once, either with faith, Shraddha, or even with Helaya, even with inadvertently. Hey Bhruguvara, O best of the descendants of Bhrigu dynasty, Naramatram Tarayet Krishna Nama. Such a person, he becomes liberated. He becomes liberated. Tarayet Krishna Nama. Tasmat Bhagavat Swarupameva Nama. The holy name is non-different from the Swarupa of the Bhagavan. Spashtam Choktam Sri Narada Pancharatre Akstakshara Mantra Muddishya. This is very clearly explained in the Narada Pancharatra while describing the Ashtakshara Mantra. Vyaktam hi Bhagavaneva Sakshan Narayana Swayam Ashtakshara Swarupena Mukeshu Parivartate. So the Ashtakshara Nama is actually non-different from Sakshad Narayana. And when a person chants the Ashtakshara Nama, Lord Narayana is directly present in the mouths of such a person. And then he quotes from the Upanishads. Upanishad Sucha Pranava Muddishya. In the Upanishad, regarding the Pranava Omkara, the Pranava is nothing but the holy name of the Lord. Omit Yekaksharam Brahman Vyaharam Mam Anusmaran. I am that Pranava Omkara. Regarding the Pranava Omkara, it is explained in the Chandogya Upanishad. Omkara Yevedam Sarvam. Omkara is everything. Om Ityetat Aksharamidam Sarvam. Om Ityetat Aksharamidam Sarvam. Indeed, all this is Om. Mandukya Karika further states, Pranavo hyaparam brahma, pranavascha param smritam, apurvo nantaro bahyo, napara pranavo vyayah. Pranavo hyaparam brahma. Brahma is not something different from Pranava. Pranavascha param smritam. Pranava is the topmost thing. Apurvo anantaro bahyo. Pranava is within everything and also outside everything. Apara pranavo vyaha. Pranava is never destroyed. Pranava is transcendental, unprecedented, imperishable, without exterior or interior, and beyond which there is nothing. Sorry, pranavo para avyayah. Sarvasya pranavo hyadi. Pranava is the origin of everything. Madhyama antastataiva cha. It is the middle and also the end. Evam hi pranavam nyatva vyashnute tadanantaram. In this way, one who understands the pranava, that person attains him. Vyashnute tadanantaram. Pranavam hi Ishwaram vidyat sarvasya hridaye sthitam. Pranava is non-different from the Ishwara and is situated in everyone's heart. Sarva vyapi namomkaram matva dhiro na shochati. Pranava is all pervading. The omkaram. Omkaram matva dhiro na shochati. A sober person who knows the all-pervading Om, the Pranava, na shochati, he does not lament. Amatro, Ananta matrascha, Pranava has no measurement. Ananta matrascha, it is limitless. Dvaitasya upashamaha shivaha. Dvaitasya upashamaha shivaha means it is the end of dualism and all auspicious. And Omkaro vidito yena sa munir na itaro janaha. One who knows the Omkara, he is considered a Muni, he is a sage, and not others. In this way, we see the Pranava Omkara is also how it is described as non-different from the Bhagavan. Further, Natu Parameshwarasyaiva Tattat Yogyata Sambhavad Varnamatrasya Tatoktihi Stuti Rupa Eva Iti Mantavyam. Natu Parameshwarasya Eva Tattat Yogyata Sambhavad Varnamatrasya Tatoktihi Stuti Rupa Eva Iti Mantavyam. One should not think that these statements regarding a mere syllable Om, one should not think these statements to be just a eulogy, and that such characteristics are not possible to be found other than the personal form of the Supreme Lord. One may think, okay, the personal form of the Supreme Lord, the statements glorifying the personal form of the Lord, we will accept those statements. But the statements talking about this, just the Pranava Omkara, or about the other holy names of the Lord, these cannot be accepted. These are just eulogy. These are simply eulogy. They are simply Arthavada statements. They are simply exaggerated statements. So one should not think like that. So avatar antaravat parameshwarasyaiva varna rupena avataroyam iti asmin arthe tenaiva shrutibale nangi krite tad abedena tat sambhavat. So avatar antaravat parameshwarasya eva varnarupena avataro ayamiti asmin arte tenaiva shrutibalena angikrite. On the authority of the shrutis, we have to accept these statements. And the holy name is the avatara of the Supreme Lord in the form of the letters, in the form of the varnas. Abedena, there is no difference between the holy name and the Supreme Lord. Om is the avatar of the Lord in the Varna Rupa, in the letter form. And it is like any other avatar. Just like there is the avatar of the Lord as the water, that is Ganges. Avatar of the Lord in the form of the book, that is Srimad Bhagavatam. Avatar of the Lord in the form of the forest, that is Naimisharanya. Avatar of the Lord in the form of the day, that is Ekadashi. Similarly, avatar of the Lord in the form of the letters, that is the Pranava. So, by the authority of the Shruti, Vedic statements, it is established that Om is non-different from the Lord. And therefore, the powers are certainly to be found in the Om. Therefore, there is no difference between the name and the Krishna himself, the repository of the name. And this is further stated in the Padma Purana. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Abhinnatvat Namanaminoh. So what is the meaning? Nama Eva Chintamanihi. The holy name is actually the touchstone. That means Sarvartha Datrutva. They can fulfill all one's desires. Na Kevalam Tadrushameva. Not only that. Apitu Chaitanye Tyadi Lakshano Yaha Krishnaha Sayeva Sakshat. Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. It is actually conscious. Rasa. It is a Vigraha. Vigraha is a completely conscious Vigraha composed of bliss. Just like Bhagavatam is Rasamalayam. Similarly, holy name is also a Rasa Vigraha. So therefore, holy name is Krishnaha Sayeva Sakshat. It is not different from Krishna. Purnaha Shuddho. It is completely pure. Nitya Mukto. Completely liberated, eternally liberated. Abhinnatvam Nama Namino. What is it is there is no difference between the name and the person who is having the name. In the material world, the name Ramesh and the person who is having the name Ramesh, they are different. But here, Abhinnatvan Nama Namino, there is no difference between Krishna and his name. Nanu Tathavidam Namadikam Katam Purushendriya Janyam Bhavati. So if the holy name is non-different from the Bhagavan, then how is it that the holy name can be chanted by the material senses of a human being? Katam Purushendriya Janyam Bhavati. How can it emanate from the ordinary senses of a living entity? Then he answers, Na Veda Matrasya Bhagavata Eva Purushendriyadishu Avirbhavanat. Actually, the holy name manifests by the will of the Lord. Even the Vedas, Na Veda Matrasya Bhagavata Eva Purushendriyadishu Avirbhavanat. In reply, it is said that the name is not generated by the tongue because the entire Veda was made manifest to the human senses by the Supreme Lord himself. Even the Vedas are manifest to the human senses by the Supreme Lord himself. Similarly, holy name is not generated by the tongue, rather the holy name is manifest in the tongue by the causeless mercy of the Lord. And then he quotes a verse from the Bhagavatam 11th canto. Yatoktam Ekadashe, the 11th canto, Swayam Shri Bhagavata, Shabda Brahma Sudurbodham, 11.21.36. Ityarabhya Mayopa Brahmitam Bhumna Brahmana Ananta Shaktina Bhuteshu Gosha Rupena Viseshurneva Lakshyate. Shabda Brahma Sudurbodham. The Vedas are Sudurbodham, the sound revelation of the absolute truth, Sudurbodham is most difficult to grasp as the unlimited, unchanging, and omnipotent Supreme Lord dwelling within all living beings. I personally established the Vedic sound vibration in the form of the Omkara within all living entities. This Omkara is perceived subtly like a single strand of a fiber on a lotus stalk. Bhuteshu Gosharupena Viseshu Urna Iva Lakshyate. So the Vedas are just like the Vedas are Sudur Bodham. It is very Sukshma. It is manifest by the Lord. Similarly, the holy name is actually manifest by the mercy of the Lord. It cannot be accessed simply with the material senses. And further he quotes, Dvadashasya Shashte Veda Vyasana Prasange. In the 12th canto, the 6th chapter, the chapter on the dividing of the Vedas, there is a verse. Ksheenayusha Ksheena Durmedhan Vikshya Kalatah Vedan Brahmarusha Yogyasyan Hridisthachuta Choditaha Ksheenayusha Ksheena Durmedan Vikshya Kalatah. So, seeing that in the as time progresses, people's lifespan will reduce. Kshina Sattvan, their Sattva Guna will reduce. Durmedan, they will become less intelligent. Seeing that Brahma Rishayaha, Vedavyasa, what did he do? He did the great sages, the Brahma Rishaya, the great sages, systematically divided the Vedas as directed by the immortal Lord dwelling in their hearts. So, Achyuta Choditaha, Hridistat Achyuta Choditaha. The great sages divided the Vedas, seeing the future capacity of the people in Kali Yuga, being inspired by the Lord, who is situated in their hearts. Tikacha, the commentary to the shloka. Tarhi Purusha Buddhi Prabhavatvan na Adaraniyam Syad it Ashankyaha Hridistat Achyuta Chodita iti Ityesha. So, what is the meaning? Sridhar Swami says that in the event that somebody may doubt the authority of the Vedas, because they may think that Vedas are written by the human beings. So therefore, why should I have faith in the authority of the Vedas? So therefore, the verse says that Hridistat Achyuta Choditaha. That means the sages dividing the Vedas, it was inspired by the Lord dwelling in the heart. That means it was inspired by the Lord dwelling of the heart. Therefore, the Vedas were manifest through the sages. Therefore, the same idea is explained. Kasmai yena vibasitoyam ityadau tat rupena ityadivat. The same idea is explained in this shloka also. 12.13.19. Kasmai yena vibasitoyam tad rupena ityadivat. That means when in the parampara, when somebody is writing a scripture, and the disciplic succession is a personification of the Lord. Tad rupena. The individuals who transmit the Srimad Bhagavatam in a parampara is a personification of the Lord. And with the same intended meaning, the Devatas offer prayers to Krishna when Krishna was there in the womb of Devaki. And that verse is quoted. Nanama Rupe गुणजन्म कर्मभिर् निरूपितव्ये तव तस्य साक्षिणः मनोवचोभ्यामनुमेयवर्त्मनो देवक्रियायां प्रतियन्त्यथापिः. So the devatas are saying, you are the witness of the mind. The means of your realization can only be inferred, anumeya. Your names and forms, along with your attributes, actions and births, can neither be conceived by the mind nor extolled through the speech. But still, in devotional service, they can be perceived. Na nama rupe guna janma karma bir na nirupitavye. Na nirupitavye. They cannot be perceived with our senses. Mano vachobhyam anumeya vartmano. They can only be inferred with our mind. Deva kriyayam pratiyantu atapihi. Kriyayam pratiyantu atapihi. But still, kriyayam here refers to devotional service. Deva kriyayam refers to devotional service. Yet in devotional service, pratiyantu, they can be perceived. Deva kriyayam pratiyantu atapihi. So here we see that this section, the holy name, is actually non-different from Krishna. The statements glorifying the holy name should not be considered as an eulogy. That is described. I'll discuss some section of the purport. So in the Vedas, there are various descriptions of tapasya, austerity, charity, etc. And there are also descriptions of the prayashchitta in order to free oneself from the sins. And some of the prayashchitta is very difficult to perform. For example, if a brahmana drinks the wine even unknowingly, and according to Manu Samhita, the prayashchitta is that he should drink hot gomutra until death. Very difficult prayashchitta. So in the common world also we see, if somebody has to achieve something in this world, one has to work very hard. So based on this, our experience, one may think that to achieve anything in spiritual plane or in the material plane, one has to work very hard. So it cannot be possible simply by chanting some syllables. Even if you may say it is a holy name, it cannot be possible simply by chanting some syllables. Like that one may think. But Jiva Goswami warns against such a mentality. One should not think. So according to the Niti, there is a shloka that Nahi Suptasya Simhasya. Even the lion has to work hard to find its prey. No deer will come automatically to fall in the mouth of the lion. So generally, our experience in this world is to achieve anything, one has to work very hard. So with that mindset, we may think that it cannot be possible simply by chanting some syllables. So Jiva Goswami is warning such a mindset. So therefore, one should not think the statements of the holy name to be exaggeration. Then I already discussed a part of this 5 types of statements in the beginning. So, if the Lord's holy name is transcendental, how can it be uttered with one's material tongue? So Jiva Goswami says that holy name is not vibrated with the tongue, rather just like the Bhagavan is swataha siddha, self-manifest. Similarly, holy name is self-manifest. The holy name appears by its own will. That is why Rupa Goswami says that Ata Shri Krishna Namadi Na Bhaved Grahyam Indriyaihi Sevon Mukehi Jihvado Swayam Yeva Spuratyataha. The name, form, and attributes of Krishna are transcendental. They are imperceptible to the material senses. But when a devotee offers the self in full devotion, then only do the holy name and other attributes manifest themselves of their own accord on the tongue and other senses. So we can see one example is Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj, when he became a deer, the deer chanted the holy names. So normally a deer cannot chant the holy name, but the Lord was self-manifest on the tongues of the deer. Therefore, the deer could chant the holy name. Gajendra, the elephant. How can an elephant offer prayers? But the Lord's prayers, Lord's holy names, they are self-manifest. So therefore, they were manifest on the tongue of Gajendra because of the Gajendra's devotion. So just like the holy, not only the holy name, even the Vedas are self-manifest. And that is what we quoted the shloka 11.21.36 to 39. The transcendental sound of the Veda is Durbodham, is very difficult to comprehend and manifests on the different levels within the prana, senses, and the mind. And the Vedic sound is unlimited, immeasurable, deep, immeasurably deep, and unfathomable, just like the ocean. But as the unlimited, unchanging, omnipotent Supreme Lord, dwelling within all living beings, I personally established the Vedic sound vibration in the form of the Omkara within all living entities. It is thus perceived subtly, just like the single strand of fiber on a lotus stalk. So then, if the holy name is so powerful and glorious, then why do people not feel its efficacy even after daily chanting thousands of times? Excluding the descriptions of the devotees in the scripture, on a practical life, we find it almost difficult to find a person who has experienced the full power of the holy name. The answer is that the holy name must be chanted free from offenses. Just as chanting pleases the Lord, the offenses displease him. So, a servant may be serving the king in many ways. But if the servant, at the end of service, if he abuses the king, then definitely the king would be upset. Or while serving the king itself, if he is simultaneously abusing the king, then that is even a greater offense. So therefore, one must not commit the offenses to the holy name. So holy name is like a fire. We read that shloka in the beginning when Mataji summarized. Whether you when you touch the fire knowingly or unknowingly, fire will burn. Fire will burn the dry grasses. But if the grass is wet, then fire will not burn the grass immediately. Although fire has the power to burn, but if the grass is wet, it's not possible. Similarly, although the holy name is powerful like a fire, but if a person is committing the offenses, then the holy name does not manifest its power. So offenses are so powerful that even persons in the liberated state, they can fall because of the offenses. Rupa Goswami quotes a shloka in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. भावोऽप्यभावमायाति कृष्णप्रेष्ठापराधतः आभासतां च शनकैर्न्यूनजातीयतामपि. Bhavopi, even a person in the stage of bhava, the beginning stage of love of Krishna. If a person commits an offense, the bhava can disappear altogether if a person commits a very grave offense, especially to somebody who is very dear to Krishna. But if a person commits a medium offense, if a person commits a grave offense to a person very dear to Krishna, the bhava can completely disappear. But if a person commits a offense which is of a medium grade, then bhava can turn into bhava bhasa, a semblance of bhava. But if a person commits a adama grade offense, a low, very even lesser degree of offense, then the higher bhava will turn into a lower bhava. For example, a vatsalya bhava can turn into a shanta bhava. So in that way, offenses can actually can have effect even on the person who is in the stage of bhava. The example is a Dvivida, the servant of Lord Ram, but he committed an offense to Lakshmana. Therefore, he became demoniac and he had to be killed by Balram. So therefore, offense has to be kept in mind. The offense to a devotee is also offense to the holy name. So the offense makes a person's heart hard as a stone, incapable of feeling any effects of the chanting. So therefore, it is important to avoid the offenses. If one is not cautious to avoid the offenses, the chanting will implicate him more and more in material life. A person may find increasing taste for certain worldly activities. A person may lose taste for spiritual activities. Person may become increasingly attracted to worldly activities. So holy name is like a potent medicine. If it is taken wrongly, it will have a powerful adverse reaction. So therefore, Mahaprabhu told that Tanadapi Sunichena Taroriva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. So this part of the Anuccheda, I'll take a little more ahead and then we may not be able to cover the next part, but some part I'll take. Till now, anybody has any questions?
No, Prabhuji.
So this Anuccheda is little long, divided into I think 7 or 8 sections. We have covered 4 sections. So going ahead, Tata Rupasyapi Vailakshanyam Swaprakashata Lakshana Swarupa Shaktya Eva Avirbhavitvam Tacha Purvadarshitam. So what is explained here? They explained that similarly, the distinctive feature of the Bhagavan's form is that it is manifest only through the internal potency, which is Swaprakasha, self-luminous in nature. And this Purvadarshitam, it was demonstrated previously. And it is said in the second canto, 2.9.4, Atma Tattva Vishuddhyartam Yadaha Bhagavan Ritam Brahmane Darshayan Rupam Avyalika Vratadritaha. So it's explained that being satisfied, avyalika yathadrataha, avyalika, being satisfied with the Brahma's sincere penance. The word avyalika comes many places in the Bhagavatam. Gatavyalikair, nirvyalika or avyalika. Avyalika means a sincere penance or without any ulterior motives. Bhagavatam, for example, in the second canto, in Shukadeva Goswami's prayer, he also uses this shloka. Sayesha Atma Atmavatamαδishwaras Trayi Mayo Dharma Mayastapomaya Gatavyalikai Rajashankaradibir Vitarkya Lingo Bhagavan Prasidatam. Gatavyalikai Rajashankaradibir Sayesha Atmatmavatam. He is a super soul, the supreme soul, lord of all self-realized souls. Trayimayas, personification of the Vedas, Dharmamaya, personification of Dharma and Tapasya, and he is worshipped by Brahma and Shiva and all those who are transcendental to all pretensions. So Gatavyalikai, the word Gatavyalikai comes, or Nirvyalika comes, or Avyalika comes. All these have same meaning. It means basically without any ulterior motivation, or without any pretension, or without any cheating propensity, or with a sincere attitude. That is the meaning. So here the word being satisfied with Brahma's sincere penance, the Lord spoke the truth, Atma Shuddhi Vishuddhyartham, Atma Tattva Vishuddhyartham, in order to purify his understanding of the nature of the self, while he revealed his own form. Brahmane Darshayan Rupam, while he revealed his own form. The Tika to the Shloka, Ityatra Tika Cha, Yachoktam Ashtamadhyaye Parameshwarasyapi Deha Sambandha Visheshat Katam Tad Bhaktya Mokshaka Syat iti. So, the question that was asked in the 8th chapter, that is 2.8.8. What was the question? That since the relation between the Lord and his body seems to be like the relationship between the living entity and his body, how is it possible for a person to become liberated by offering devotion to him? So it appears that in the case of a living entity, the living entity's body is different from his person. So it appears that the Lord's body and the Lord, that it also appears like a, it also appears similar. So then, if the Lord's body is also like the living entity's body, then how can a person become liberated by offering devotion to Bhagavan? This was a question asked in the second canto, 8th chapter, 2.8.8. In answer to this question, this verse is spoken. Atma Tattva Vishuddhyartham, to purify. Tatra aha Atma Tattva Vishuddhyartham iti. Therefore, in order to purify the understanding of the Bhagavan, it means in order to purify the understanding of the relationship between Bhagavan and his body. So, for that, the Bhagavan spoke. So, Atmano Jivasya Tattva Vishuddhyartham Tattva Jnanartham Tad Bhavedeva. Kim Tad Yattat Padina Yattat Padina Swabhajanam Bhagavan Brahmana Aha. So, the verse is put forth in answer to this question to purify his understanding of the nature of the self. In other words, this teaching is intended for the individual self, the Jiva, in order to purify his understanding of the Bhagavan. That is, to bestow explicit and unequivocal knowledge of the Absolute. Yattat Padina Swabhajanam Bhagavan Brahmanaha. So, what is the Yattat Padina Swabhajanam Bhagavan Brahmanaha? In order to give the right understanding of the Bhagavan, the Lord is actually speaking to Brahma. Kim Kurvan, what was the Lord doing at that time? Ritam Satyam Chiddhanam Rupam Darshayan. When the Lord was speaking, he also was showing his form. So what was that knowledge? What was that knowledge? That which the Lord spoke to Brahma, namely knowledge regarding his own devotional service, Swabhajanam. So kim tat yattat padina Swabhajanam Bhagavan Brahmana aha. Swabhajanam Bhagavan Brahmana aha. The Bhagavan Krishna spoke to Brahma about his own devotional service. And what was he doing at that time? He was revealing his own true form. Ritam Satyam Darshayan. How his form is actually condensed form of awareness, Chit Rupam, Sachitananda Vigraha. While revealing that form, the Lord was speaking. And Darshane Hetuhu. What is the reason for showing his form? Avyalekena Vratena Tasma Tapasad Ritaha Sevitam San. So Brahmaji worshipped Krishna with a sincere, non-pretentious devotional service. Tapasad Ritaha Sevitam San. That is the reason that the Bhagavan showed his form. So the implication is this: Ayam Bhavaha Jivasya Avidyaya Mithyabhuta Deha Sambandha Ishwarasya tu Yogamayaya Chit Dana Vigraha Chit Dana Vigraha Havirbhava iti Mahan Vishesha. In the case of the living entity's relationship with his body, the living entity, because of his illusion, he identifies with the body. Mithya Bhuta Deha Sambandha. The material body is an artificial imposition on the living entity. But in the case of the Bhagavan's body is actually completely, it is a part of his Yogamaya potency. Therefore, it's completely different from the living entity's relationship with his body. Atas tad bhajane mokshopapattirati ityesha. Therefore, by worshipping that form of Bhagavan, which is a manifestation of his Yogamaya potency, by showing devotion to that form of Bhagavan, one can actually attain moksha. So that is what is explained here. In the case of Bhagavan, his transcendental body is manifest by his internal potency. The difference is immense. Therefore, liberation can be attained through devotion to him. And this is the Sridhar Swami's comment. And the same point is also conveyed by Vasudev's prayers to Krishna when Krishna was born, the 10th canto, 3rd chapter. So with this I'll end. Atayeva Sattvam Trilokasthite iti ityadi padyadvaye Srimad Anaka Dundibinapi Samahitam. Anaka Dundibi is the name of Vasudev. Sattvam Trilokasthitaye Swamayaya Bibarshi Shuklam Khaluvarnamatmanah Sargaya Raktam Rajasopabramhitam Krishnam cha Varnam Tapasa Janatyaye. So, though through your Maya, you assume a pure white color for the sake of maintaining the three worlds, and you assume a red color endowed with rajas for the creation, and you assume a dark color through tamoguna for the destruction. So we will see the meaning of this in the next class. Atra ayam arthaha. You will see that in the next class. The continuation of the shloka. So, anybody has any questions? We are
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hmm.
Prabhuji, you said that while chanting the holy name, we tend to because of the offenses, the manifestation of the name generally doesn't take place as it required to be. But most of the time, we don't come to know that we are committing an offense, and we think that we are not paying much attention to the chanting. So, how do we understand that chanting? It reduces on its own, or we are most of the time either we are uh, lazy or we are sleepy or something which the name doesn't we don't chant the name properly, and sometimes as per the sloka it is also said that because of the offense the name is not manifesting on its swamaya swa uh, it's on its own, it's manifest. So how do we understand this difference?
It's like it said Tadashmasaram Hridayam Vatedam Yadgruhyamanir Harinama Deyai. That verse I chanted. When a person chants the holy name, the heart should melt. And the melting of the heart results in tears flowing like that. If it does not happen, that means a person's heart is still framed. That means he is committing offenses. Like that, the symptom is mentioned. At the same time, so one is that if these symptoms are not coming, that means we are committing offenses. Like there are bhajans, the acharyas actually chant Kabe Habe Bolo, E Dina Amare. When will that day come when tears will roll when I chant the holy names like that. So this is one symptom that we are committing offenses. Another point is that sometimes a person is not committing offenses, but still he is not exhibiting the ecstatic symptoms. That's because the holy name will show the result in due course. Just like the tree is growing, but the fruit of the tree, although you are following the process properly, you are removing the weeds, you are actually protecting the tree from the different animals who are trying to attack the tree. You are watering the tree properly, but still the fruit of the tree will come. It take its own time. It will give the fruit at the appropriate time. So similarly, although one may not be committing offenses, one may be guarding oneself against the anarthas, but still the holy name will actually show its effect in due course of time at the appropriate time. In this way, both can be seen. But it is in one sense, it is to be conscious. We have to be cautious that we don't have to be paranoid of the offenses. At the same time, offenses are an important topic that because of that one is unable to access the power of the holy name. Right.
So,
Is it all right?
Yes, Prabhu.
That 5 types of statements, Prabhuji, says similar. We have done something like that hetu, that smoke in the fire, and the fire
No,
doesn't.
that is a different. That is actually in the Hanumana Pramana, there are 5 steps. There's 5 steps in the Hanumana Pramana. This is in the Purva Mimamsa. Purva Mimamsa is the scripture which describes about how to perform the Vedic sacrifices, different yajnas. So in the Purva Mimamsa, there are different types of statements: Vidhi Vakya, Nisheda Vakya, Mantra, Namadeya, and Arthavada.
And also, Prabhuji, your mentions like I've understood the context, but like I think we had done it in Anuccheda, 32nd Anuccheda, where Brahmaji speaks about Krishna and Narayan. Like, yeah, it says that the four names beginning with Krishna, Achyuta, Anand, Vishnu are indicative of all the other names. Even that, like Narayan, also, if you're chanting incidentally, it can seem to have the same effect. Yeah, so I was just trying to. I've understood the context, like, but still, like, the desired goal, like Krishna Prem, like, and if you chant Narayan all the time, or if you chant Krishna, so.
Okay. So tomorrow is Gita, Bhagavad Gita Jayanti. We recite Bhagavad Gita at home or wherever you are there, whether in temple or home or online. So next week, I'll let you know. It's going on a yatra, whether I'll be able to take class, I'm not sure. So next week class, I will keep you informed later.